All right, Auburn 5-1, number 11 in the country, has everything in front of them. The only loss they have is a very disappointing loss, in my opinion, to the Florida Gators. A game that, if you look back at it, you look at the video footage, probably a game that Auburn should have won. Auburn was in great opportunity to score down the stretch, had a couple of interceptions by Bo Nix. Bo Nix, a freshman quarterback, going to the swamp for the first time, making some, just some inexperienced mistakes. Because when you think about a quarterback who, has garnished every award possible in high school football, you transfer that talent to Power 5 football, it doesn't always transfer immediately, because when you think about it, the range is different, especially when cornerbacks react a little bit differently than they do in high school. And quarterbacks tend to, not be able to read those ranges as far as good as they did as high school quarterbacks. And you talk about with Auburn facing top 25 teams, facing elite talent in the SEC, you're bound to have some mistakes from the quarterback. Go ahead and like this video, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle. Auburn comes into the game number 7, 5-1, with everything in front of them. A lot of folks were disappointed in Auburn's loss to Florida. Florida went on down to Baton Rouge, and they battled Florida all the way down to the middle of the fourth quarter, had an interception that kind of got the game out of hand. LSU wins that game 42-28. Florida pretty much gave LSU everything they possibly could have given, given the fact that, you don't really have a mobile quarterback. You didn't really have a running game to amount to much. LaMichael Pirine is still struggling to get some yardage, but Florida gave, really gave LSU a great football game. Now, shifting things to Auburn. Auburn is kind of in a similar situation that they were in this time last year. The only difference, though, is Auburn actually has everything still in front of them, because if you think about in 2018, by now you already have multiple SEC losses to where everything is off the table. You're just playing for pride at this point. Going into the game against Tennessee last year, Tennessee hadn't won an SEC game in a very, very long time. Had Jeremy Pruitt as the new coach, trying to get some things going for Tennessee. And coming down to Auburn, you figured the Auburn and Tennessee game was going to be a bounce-back game for the Auburn Tigers, considering they had lost to Mississippi State. But the loss to Tennessee pretty much started the debacle of 2018, where Auburn lost to Mississippi State, then lost to Tennessee, and that started at least the defensive debacle, because from that time on, the defense allowed 488 yards per game, multiple first downs per game. They struggled with time of possession, and things just really got bad for the Tigers up until the miraculous win over Texas A&M, which sort of salvaged the season and gave Auburn a chance for some pride down the stretch. They played Georgia pretty well for the first half, played Alabama pretty well for the first half, pretty much into the middle of the third quarter, until things kind of got loose for Alabama. Alabama winning that game 52-21. And then, of course, Auburn got things together, and Gus Malzahn starts calling plays again, beating Purdue pretty soundly in the Music City Bowl. One thing that Auburn has to avoid in this particular game is the fact that Arkansas is struggling. They're having some quarterback issues. You talk about, Nick Starkel and Ben Hicks. They are really struggling at the quarterback position, especially that last game, combining for less than 200 yards together. And also, you don't want this to be a situation where, just like last year, Tennessee hadn't won a SEC game in a long time. Arkansas is in the same situation. Haven't won an SEC game in a very long time. Auburn doesn't want to be that team that facilitates Arkansas getting back, as far as winning that SEC game and basically canceling out Auburn's season. Now, if you look at this, this is not necessarily an Arkansas team that is great, but they do some good things. Rakeem Boyd, actually, the running back for Arkansas, really is a bright spot for this particular team. He had a nice run against Kentucky for a touchdown. They pretty much had Kentucky on the ropes, but Kentucky pretty much, came back in the end and won that particular game. So Arkansas is inching towards trying to get that SEC win, and Auburn does not want to be that team like they were last year in 2018 to give an SEC team who hasn't won an SEC game in quite some time an opportunity to get that win, especially with all that Auburn has on the table. You talk about, Marlon Davidson, Derek Brown, Nick Cole, all of these guys coming back for the possibility of having a chance to win a championship or doing something great at Auburn, and that's still on the table. Derek Brown has been SEC player, defensive player of the week a couple of times. Marlon Davidson as well. So coming into this particular football game, Auburn definitely needs to take care of business. Bo Nix has had a couple of weeks, the bye week and now this particular practice week, to really shore some things up and kind of slow the game down for Bo Nix, because I think in that Florida game, things were a little fast for him. You talk about those defensive ends crashing down. You talk about, even though I think the offensive line gave him some opportunity, gave him some pockets to throw the football, but things were just too fast. The range of the cornerbacks for Florida was just a little bit too fast. You got C.J. Henderson coming back. You have that talented defensive backfield for the Florida Gators who cost, Auburn 3 interceptions in that particular football game, neutralizing and, becoming a great equalizer in that particular game. So in this game, as I look at, Arkansas and video footage, I think Auburn has a lot of opportunity with the zone read, because Kentucky had really has some success with the zone read. They had some success even with run pass option, with faking to the running back and then being able to throw downfield to the tight end. Kentucky had a good vertical game going against Arkansas. And I think this could be an opportunity for Bo Nix to really get in a rhythm. Because when you talk about the stretch of the SEC, Bo Nix is going to have to get in a rhythm of throwing the ball downfield. I like the idea of Auburn potentially throwing the ball downfield and getting some big plays going on first down. Because if you think about Auburn up to this point, really haven't been creative. A lot of on first down, a lot of the things that they've done on first down have been sort of behind the line of scrimmage. I want to see Auburn go vertically down the field on first down, getting 8, 10, 15 yards on first down, kind of like what LSU likes to do. Kind of what LSU did on that winning touchdown where they broke the game open, where they threw down the field on first down. That's something that Auburn is definitely going to have to do, is become a little bit more unpredictable on first down. And as well, we do know that Boobie Whitlow is out. Who is going to emerge as the running back for Auburn? I mean, of course, you got Cam Martin, who's been around for a while, averaged about 400 yards per year. You also have Sean Shivers, who's played somewhat of an auxiliary role. I like Sean Shivers in between the tackles, even though he's, for the most part, undersized for the typical SEC running back. I think he's strong enough to do some things in between the tackles, and he has a lot of speed to where he can get some things off balance. He attacks the line of scrimmage. And that's something that the Auburn running backs are going to definitely have to do to get the zone read going, attack the line of scrimmage. You can't get a zone read going if you're dancing around in the backfield trying to find holes. You got to attack the line of scrimmage. I also think Bo Nix, not necessarily a Nick Marshall, Cam Martin type dual threat quarterback, but he does have the ability to run the football, and especially getting that zone read going in between the tackles, because his straight ahead running is great. Now his perimeter running is a little shaky. You saw that in the Florida game where Florida was able to kind of contain him on the perimeter, but when he was able to run in between the tackles with the draws and the zone read, he was actually somewhat successful. I think the bye week has given Bo Nix a chance to kind of slow things down, kind of look at some of the mistakes that he made, and I think Bo Nix will definitely be in good shape coming into this game going up against Arkansas. Arkansas, very, when I look at them on video footage, not very physical at the point of attack. Linebackers don't play particularly well, but they do have a weapon in Raheem Boyd that if Auburn is caught off balance defensively, could make some big plays. So Auburn is definitely going to have to stay at home against Raheem Boyd and keep him at bay. And I think Auburn can be successful in this particular football game. Very important game for the Tigers to go on the road, an 11 o'clock game. No team usually plays well, especially you got to get up so early in those 11 o'clock games. I think it will be a very huge statement win for the Tigers to go on the road, an 11 o'clock game, and really establish the line of scrimmage on both sides of the football field. I think Auburn's defensive line is one of the best in the country, and I think they need to go ahead and continue that against Arkansas. Set the line of scrimmage, go ahead and get some pressure on whoever the quarterback is, whether it's Ben Hicks or Nick Stargell, and go ahead and bring this victory back home to Auburn so that Auburn can go on the road against LSU. Arguably, in my opinion, based on all the teams that I've seen so far, Georgia, Alabama, I think LSU is one of the more balanced teams in the SEC. And, you talk about Aranda, the defensive coordinator for LSU. Yeah, they've given up a lot of points, but he has the leverage to be able to give up those points because the offense is playing so well. But you got to think, I think Auburn will challenge LSU because I think Auburn is a lot more physical at the point of attack than Florida was. I think their cornerbacks will have the ability to challenge those wide receivers. The only thing I'm a little nervous about, I want to see what Kevin Steele's approach is going to be. I'm not saying sell out completely into the zone, but Kevin Steele is going to have to give his cornerback some leverage because LSU likes to run those long intermediate routes to where if you give Joe Burrow enough time, he can really hurt you in those particular routes. So we're going to see where Auburn is, especially after this Arkansas game. I think Auburn will have a lot of success. You talk about the running back position for the Auburn Tigers. No Boobie Whitlow, but you do have a wealth of talent there. You have Cam Martin. You have Harold Joyner. You have Sean Shivers. You have Malik Miller. So there's some opportunity for Auburn to find that guy and also DJ Williams, to find that guy who can beat, because Gus Malzahn likes that every down back in the fourth quarter. My guess is the two guys that I think will be able to do this is probably Harold Joyner and DJ Williams. The only thing with both of those guys is their health and their ability to protect the football. Once again, it's Kennard Vernon Stewart here for the podcast Talking Auburn Football. Go ahead and like this video, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle.